Well, I've had a couple of requests to consider doing some more postings, and I it's a mixed bag for me. I think that first of all, I'm 63, and this journey, this life has been filled chock-a-block full with full spectrum, but a lot of sort of extraordinary and maybe even other dimension or otherworldly experiences. And I think that in fairness, um, there's the electrocution when I was 15 years old. And then in 1980, there was an experience sailing offshore on a small 36-foot sailboat that really took me a very long time to put into perspective. And do I have it correct? Do I have it right? I guess that's the question. Um, then there's my let me see, my son is 32, so there's my 31-year relationship with studying A Course in Miracles, which has had a very, very profound effect. Um, Although clearly I'm a little bit of I'm a special need student, I guess. I mean, if you think about it, 31 years off and on with this document that is just trying to get me to remember. And I wrote a book with a very good friend of mine called Letters from Adam. Adam is a um, disincarnate entity. Um, Adam came to me through a human being, a woman, and Adam came into my life probably 16, 17 years ago now, a very long time ago. So I have a 31-year relationship with A Course in Miracles. I have a 17-year relationship with information from Adam, and I mean, very direct, very personal. Um, and then I have my time with the late Dr. John Mack and Bobby Roberta Colasante, who was the clinical director at PEER, PEER, the Program for Extraordinary Experience Research. And my work with them was in an effort to get me to try to begin to remember, and then maybe coalesce, sort of recapitulate what it is that happened to me in 1980 um, offshore, off of George's Banks, in the fog in June, first week of June. Um, and that in and of itself is pretty potent stuff. It had to do with recalling my body being taken off of this physical fleshly envelope, being taken off of a sailboat and being brought into what at the time I called the City of Lights. And by the way, I'm sitting like this just in an effort to sort of disguise the fact that this is missing. It's however many years it's been since 1968. I still have a very hard time looking at my image um, because I don't ever think of myself as having one arm, and so when I see my human body, it's really hard. After all these years, it's hard um, because this is not who I am. I think that the best place to start, if we end up doing another series, is right there. Um, the entity that I am in truth, okay, the entity that I am in capital T truth, has a human, um, and that human's name is Will. It's me. Um, so when I am coming from that place, of the entity that I am in truth, I can say that I have a body. Um, I have a human. And certainly this life that I have been trying to live, I mean, I'm living it, but not very successfully. Um, as far as the world would judge it and see it, um, I don't really qualify in so many ways. And it's not easy to be human for me. And I also know that there are many, many, many more out there, some of you that may actually get to see this, that can really relate to the struggle of being here. And if I end up posting a series here, it will be about my journey and my struggle to be here, and not just in an escapist way. Obviously, I've given this a lot of thought, and not as though I am looking for an excuse, but certainly by being electrocuted. Real quickly, when I was 15 and a half years old, I climbed a maple tree in the front yard. And I went to the very, very top of the tree, and there was this tripod of branches, and I plunked myself down. And what I didn't know at the time was I was sitting on a ground wire. And so whatever the distance is between the ground wire and then my fully extended arm, just beyond the canopy of leaves in September, there were 3 high-tension wires. It turns out that it was something like a 14,600 3-phase. So at any moment, one of those 3 wires was carrying 7,300 volts. Because my left hip was nestled against the ground wire, and because I was damp, it had been drizzling out, and I'd been playing basketball because I was really excited about the high school that I was in and going out for the basketball team. I was really motivated. Anyway, I was a perfect conduit. And as I reached up through the branches, through the leaves were here. And as I reached up, what I didn't realize was that my hand, my left arm, so if you think about it, my left arm went right up like this. And got pulled in or sucked into 7,300 volts of high voltage electricity that then went down the arm, but also arced out, blew my hip out. If you saw my hip, it's got a skin graft on it, but it lit me up. And then my left foot was actually on a bottom branch. I was about to descend, and the inside heel of my left foot and the sneaker got blown out. So my dad, he's still with us, still has the pair of jeans that I had on, and still has the sneaker that I had on. And there was a witness, God bless David, but I haven't asked him permission, so there's no reason to mention his last name, who was at the base of the tree watching this go on. Couldn't really see me all that well. And I've talked about this before, but then I pulled the videos. And I pulled the videos and the podcasts that I did because I was still trying to reconcile why I was sharing this. The death experience, I still haven't completely reconciled. We did a lot of work, again, with Dr. John Mack, and with Bobby Roberta. And we did some relaxation and recall of the electrocution, as well as what happened to me in 1980 when I was taken off of a sailboat and boarded into what at the time I called a City of Lights. And you can probably imagine that I was bombarded with a fair amount of, skeptical and cynical, some pretty harsh. Oh, look, he's looking in this direction or that direction, and therefore he's fabricating and he's lying, and but whatever. life, this dimension that we're in, being human, there's just so much more going on. And I've often come to the conclusion and told people that planet Earth, imagine it as being a wraparound, surround sound, totally interactive theater of mind. And the point is that when we're here plugged into this visceral, smelling, breathing, seeing, listening, feeling mechanism, we're not just entranced, it's totally interactive. And it's as if the world was made to compete fiercely in order to hold our attention so that we don't remember who we are. And so I guess what I'd like to do is a series of talking points about remembering who we are, which is why A Course in Miracles is such a perfect fit because of the metaphysics involved. I am not a body. I am free, for I remain as my source created me. Accessing that aspect of mind, realizing it, and then living with it, remembering who we are in truth, and not being caught up in this sort of addictive, trance-inducing, trance-perpetuating illusion. So it's June. Today is Wednesday. Looking at the calendar, June 15th, 2016. And maybe I'll give this a shot. We'll see. I hope I'll be back.